Hey everyone, welcome to another MLM Dumpster Fire. Today we're here to watch What's Your Growth Plan by Nano, aka Kevin, aka Millie from imacademy's favorite downline boy. I think they're relatives. I think she married into his family or something, but anyway, he's always the one that hosts Millie on his calls. He prays with his downline on these calls. It's very twisty, but I've never really gotten into Kevin himself because this is like 53-minute long. And I don't know if we're gonna watch the whole thing. I know there's a little bit of like motivational speaking and praying or something in the beginning, so we might skip those parts. I might show you a few seconds or minutes and then we might skip forward to his actual training. But yeah, I have never watched his part. I've always just watched Millie talk crap. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you would like to support my channel. That's a nice free way to do that. And before we get into it, as always, big shout out to my channel members. I appreciate you guys for being here. Okay, 7.5 minutes, nothing happens. There's some kind of motivational speaking, I guess. Let's hear a little bit.
But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard. I hate plan B. And I tell you why. Because we have so many doubters, as I've said earlier, the no-sayers. We have so many of those people that say no and you can't do it, that's impossible. That is okay because we just turn off, as I said earlier, and we listen and we hear the no being a yes. You can't do it, you can do it, and all of that. So that is possible to do that amongst all the negative people around you. But when you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A.
Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, what? Why are we using him as our motivational speaker for imacademy? Let's just skip forward that one because it's not relatable. Let's move to Nano. Okay, so we're already 10 minutes into it when he actually starts talking. So
yesterday was a great day for me. We went out to celebrate us officially moving out here to Miami. So sorry for the late start. Actually, I still don't have any internet in my house. So I'm still using hotspot. So it kind of gave me a little bit of problems this morning. So I apologize about the late start, fam, but we're here. I'm excited. I got it figured out. Internet will be added today, and I should be getting my office and everything set up over the weekend. So I am super, super excited to be here. Right now, this week is a lot of hectic, for anyone that's ever moved in, you know how it is, especially when, I kind of have to furnish the whole apartment. It's the first time I ever moved into an apartment that I had to furnish the whole entire thing. So, I've been having to get everything, buy everything, purchase the whole office. I had to buy a chair, I had to buy a desk, I had to buy lights, a bunch of stuff. So it's been crazy, fam. So I appreciate you guys so much for being patient with me and being here with me. And I appreciate you guys being happy for me as well. This is a big step for me. Big boy, I'm finally growing up. And it feels good. It feels really, really good. And I really am super, super grateful to have a family like you guys to, be there for me. And yesterday,
I'm just gonna say your coworkers are not your family. And I feel like that's really cultish when people say that about their work, which, to be fair, our CEO tends to call us a tribe and things like that. And it always gives me the worst feeling ever. I'm just like, I'm not your family. I'm not your tribe. Please stop saying that word. But yeah, this is one of the things with him. He calls them family and they pray together, and it's a whole thing. It's like, it's so bad, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna pray at some point anyway. So
I celebrated with my brother Darwin and the rest of the fam. So it was good and it felt amazing. So it was amazing. But today I got a lot of work to do, and I have a lot of calls I got to catch up on today. So I'm literally on calls all day today. and I'm very, very excited for it. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys for all the love. No longer will you guys see only when I go back home, but now it's going to change a little bit. I know when I do it back home, you see all the paintings behind me, my little brother, all the stuff. But now I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to create like my own office, kind of like my own podcast room and everything. So it's about to get lit in here, fam. So I'm back in Miami. So if you guys are in the Miami area, let me know. We're out here. Let's link, let's work. Let's get to work. I'm excited, fam. So just to keep you guys updated a little bit.
It's not, hey, you want to hang out? It's let's work together.
But on some of that. And another update I do want to let you guys know about is...
We're going to skip this update. I want to get into the training because it's going to be so long anyway. So here is his slide. Here's when he starts.
Is your growth plan. Okay. Now, the reason why this is so important, guys, is because if you don't have a growth plan, it's going to be hard for you to grow in general. Okay. Now, the reason, like I said, this is so key is because you want to make sure that, you have a plan as to where you're going, because like we always say, right. And this is just some of the things that I like to tell people, just a couple points, right, that, you want to make sure you write down, right. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay. And I feel like this quote is really overlooked and it's overused, but a lot of people don't really actually plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people just throw around this quote like, yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But the same people that are saying this quote are the same people who are failing to plan. It sounds cool. They hear it, it sounds good. Something it's easy to remember, right? But the problem is, are you really planning, right? Is it something that you really are doing? Because, the real question is, right? I'm asking you guys this question right here, and this is important. Do you really have a plan? Like, really have a plan? And that's the real question for everybody, right? Like, if I were to ask you, okay, do you really have a plan on how you're going to be successful this year? Not like, oh yeah, no, I have an idea of what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, bro. I jumped on a call and I think, my mentor kind of gave me a few steps by steps. Or no. Like, do you have a step-by-step plan on how you're going to accomplish the goal that you are going to accomplish this year? Like, really have a plan where I can go somewhere in your notebook. Like, I can go into your house somewhere and there's a whiteboard that shows me, okay, this is point A, this is point B, and this is the plan on how we're going to get from point A to point B. Because this is the key. This is where we want to make sure that we are organized and that we have something, because like they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And if you're going by year and not accomplishing the goals that you set, then you failed. Right.
So are we talking just about MLMs here? Like, is he saying that the majority of people are failing even after years and years and years of working the biz and trying to be successful in imacademy? They just didn't plan, like they didn't really have a plan, and that's why they're failing? Is that what he's trying to say?
If you set a goal to accomplish something this year and you don't get it, you failed. You failed at accomplishing that goal. Okay, it's like any other sport as well. Right? If we set a goal to win a championship and we don't win a championship, we failed. We had a good season, right? We had great games. We made a lot of progress, but we didn't get our goal. So we failed in terms of getting to our goal. We may have accomplished other things, but in terms of getting to the goal, you failed at it, right? So an example is, hey, my goal this year, Nano, is to make 6 figures. Well, you may make $90,000 this year, let's say, as an example. And that's a great, yeah, you made it. Yo, you did really, really good, but you failed at the goal of making 6 figures. You made 90 though, you made 80, but you failed at the goal of which was 6 figures. You came close, still really good. So when I sat down.
So shouldn't you be happy that you still did good? I mean, I don't know. I don't know where he's going with this. I'm scared.
One time, and I had to create my growth plan. You know, these were some of the questions that I had to ask myself. And I want you guys to kind of, you know, really focus on this and just put some ideas behind it, because I think this is going to be something that's very important. So you got to ask yourself, let me see right here. There we go. Okay. So one thing that when it comes to a growth plan, you got to make sure that everything is organized and everything is put in place first. Okay. And this was something that I had to understand. Let me see right here. All right, perfect. So when it comes to a growth plan, remember, it's a growth plan, okay? So one thing I always understood was this: your income, and some of you guys know this, is a direct reflection of your personal development.
In my opinion, that is the most ridiculous thing one of the most ridiculous things that people say in MLMs. Like, your income is direct reflection of your personal development. So first, if you're failing in an MLM, you're failing because you really didn't have a real plan, and then you're failing because you are not doing personal development properly. So far, I'm sure he's gonna have a bunch of other excuses as why people fail in MLMs, and imacademy in this case, but none of that is true. Your income in an MLM is not a direct reflection of your personal development. It is not a direct reflection of how good your plan is. And do you have a plan or no? It has nothing to do with any of those two. It's the business model that's the problem. If you did not join early enough to be successful, if you don't have a big following on social media that you can recruit into your team, you're never gonna be successful. You have 99% of chances of never making any profit in an MLM. Not just imacademy, all MLMs out there. So this is BS. This is, in my opinion, just victim blaming these people that are working, trying to make this work for them, trying to earn money in this MLM, but they're not gonna make it because it's already oversaturated and they just can't succeed. The business model is working against them. Only the top 1% or less make profit in MLMs.
Your income is a direct reflection of your personal development. So in order for us to start growing, okay, there needs to be some kind of personal development plan put in place first, okay, because this is the most important part. Before we get into a business plan, before we get into a social media plan, before we get into a spiritual plan, we need to know what our personal development plan is. Now, one thing that I always did was I always focused on certain areas of my life first. All right. So for example, okay, when I came into this business and I wanted to grow, okay, I had to identify the areas that I needed to grow in. Right. So the first thing you got to do when it comes to a growth plan, number one, okay, is you got to identify the areas in your life that need growth. Right. That's the first thing when it comes to developing a fire personal development plan. Okay, so the areas that I needed growth in, first off, was my discipline. I didn't have good discipline. Okay, I sucked at discipline. Right, and I couldn't be consistent for nothing in the world, or I would say I was going to do things and I never did them. Okay.
This all being said, I'm not actually sure if he's actually successful. If he's a direct downline to Millie, who is on top, maybe he sees a little bit of success, but I don't think he's at the top. I don't think he's anywhere near the top. I might be wrong, but just keep that in mind that he's probably not making that much profit either. And if he does, it's only because he's close with Millie, in my opinion.
You know, another area of my life was procrastination. Right. I used to procrastinate a lot. Right. I wasn't good at procrastination. I was very bad at, you know, saying I was going to do things and not doing them. You know, that was bad for me. You know, it wasn't something that, you know, was a strength, you know, sort of say. It wasn't a strength for me at all. Right. So it was something that I knew that I needed to improve in. Right. Now, I want you guys to stay with me here because I'm about to get deep into this stuff. OK. So, you know, I started to identify the areas that I needed to, you know, work in, right? I know I needed to work on, you know, for example, the gym, right? There were things that I needed to get right. And that's why one of the reasons why I moved out of, you know, New York and moved to Miami and got a place where, you know, I have a gym right downstairs was because I wanted to have the convenience. Okay. I wanted to have the convenience of being able to, you know, just be able to go outside and, you know, right there, what it broke for you. Let me see.
Okay, but like, did you have to move from New York to Miami to have a gym nearby? That's not really clicking for me, but also, not everyone has the possibility and the privilege of just getting up and move elsewhere where they're gonna have a gym nearby. You know what I mean? Like, it takes money, it takes flexibility. Like, I just don't know, I don't know what's going on. Like,
you know, I wanted to be able to have that for me. Like, for example, here, you know, where I moved to in Miami, I have everything. You know, I have everything in walking distance. I don't even need a car if I don't need it right now, you know, because I have everything right here. I have a gym, I have a sauna, I have a steam room, I have a dog park, I have everything I need is right here. I have 14 restaurants, you know, a phone call away. It's absolutely incredible. So, you know, some of those areas I realized that I needed to do that. Now, what I did was, okay, let's say these were the areas I wanted to work on. Okay. These were the areas I needed to work on. And I also wanted to work on the spiritual side of success. All right. So these were kind of the things that I needed, like for like a season, I needed to work on this, right? Now, the second part was very important because now I had to do this. So what books am I going to read to help me improve in these areas? Right. And then I would also ask myself, number 3 is, what audios am I going to listen to what audios am I going to listen to so I can improve in these areas? Right? So I would ask myself.
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna keep repeating myself again because all of this are, in my opinion, just his excuses as to why people are failing or false reasons why people are failing in MLMs. None of that has anything to do with your success in an MLM. You can only be successful in an MLM if you join early or if you have a big following on social media that you can recruit into your team, rank up quick, and get to the top. This has nothing to do with it. You can listen to audiobooks, you can read the best books on self-development or whatever. It's not gonna help you succeed because the business model is set up so that the majority of people are gonna fail. When you think about it, this is like 50 something minutes of training that is completely and utterly useless for the people that are in his downline and that are here listening to it.
These questions, because remember, you have to focus on specific areas at a time, right? The focus is the key, right? Remember, focus everywhere leads to focus nowhere. Right? focus everywhere leads to focus nowhere. All right. So what happens is I said, okay, what books am I going to read to help me develop my discipline and my procrastination? Right. I remember at the time I read the book, The Compound Effect. Okay. The Compound Effect was my focus. All right. And then when it came to the audios I was going to listen to, I was listening to Your Wish is Your Command. This was helping me with the spiritual side right here. All right. The Compound Effect, was helping me with my, discipline and procrastination. Right. And then, because that helped me with that, it was able to help me out as well with the gym. So I was able to focus specifically on certain areas of my life at first. I didn't go from, let's say, for example, I struggled with discipline, but then I found out I needed help with another area. And then I started focusing on the other area. No, like I see a lot of people love to jump around, right? I see a lot of people love to jump around, right? One day they want to work on their discipline. The next day they want to work on taking action. The next day they want to work on this. The next day, me, when it comes to a growth plan, what my mentor told me, right? He said, Nano, you got to focus on one area at a time. And you can't read 100 different books. You can't listen to 100 different audios. No, you listen to the same one over and over and over and over and over again until you master it, and then you move on. So that always stuck with me because I was the type of person that would listen to all this audios. I would listen to Jim Rohn today. I would listen to, Jim Rohn today, Les Brown tomorrow, Bob Proctor the next day, and this person and that person, and E.T. and Eric Thomas and all these people. Every day I would listen to somebody new. And there's nothing wrong, because at the end of the day, you want the motivation, you want this. But when you're working on a growth plan, when you're working on growing in specific areas, it's about picking one and sticking with that for a time, right? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Right? There's nothing wrong with listening to.
Does that matter? I don't think that matters. Obviously, when we're talking about MLMs, none of this stuff matters anyway. But does that matter? You don't have to listen to one same person or read books from just one same person for a while. You can mix it up as long as their advice is useful to you. Like, why does it matter if it's one person or more? I don't think that matters, Kevin.
To Jim Rohn today, Bob Proctor tomorrow, Les Brown the next day. It's not that there's anything wrong with it, because there's times that I do it. But the thing is, when you're looking to grow in certain areas, you got to focus on that area until you've strengthened that area. Okay? And that's very important, guys. That's so important. So key. Right? So like, for example, right? This was one of my areas, right? But let's say just last year, okay, let me show you guys this. Let me tell you guys how real this is, right? And you can ask any of my leaders, they will tell you, right? One of the areas that I needed growth in was leadership. So what was I doing? Dude, I read so many leadership books. Last year, I read Develop the Leader Within You 2.0. I read The Leader's Greatest Return. I read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Okay. And then when it came to the audios I was listening to John C. Maxwell. Okay. And I was listening to Patton on Leadership by KT. And guess what? I literally focused on
But didn't we just say that we can't mix people up when we're listening and learning from them?
leadership the whole entire year of 2022. All of 2022, I focused on leadership. So you see how when it comes to certain areas in my life, I focus on it. I don't, this was all I was doing. I was only reading leadership books. I was only listening to leadership audios. I was only listening and reading and having conversations about leadership because I focus on certain areas for periods of times until I master them, until I get good at them, until I improve at them. Right? It's like, for example, think about it. Think about like a basketball player. Let's say a basketball player, right? His handles, his dribbling isn't that good, right? What a basketball player should do, right? If his handling isn't that good, if his, ball handling isn't good, is focus on ball handling until he gets really, really good on it. And every day at training, he should have a ball handling practice that is helping him improve his ball handling, improve his layups, improve, all of these different areas. Because if ball handling is the area of his life that is not the best, then he needs to work on that area. He needs to work on that. He needs to improve in that area. So every single one of us on this call, you need to identify the areas in your life that need growth and focus on them, right? You need to focus on them. This is what's called intentional learning, right? I had a lot of people give me great feedback on the latest training that we did on intentional living. This is what's called intentional learning. This is intentional learning right here. Okay. So for example, Nano, so, what areas, what is the areas that you need growth in right now? Well, for me, I'm going back to the basics, right? I'm going back to the basics for me. All right. So I'm going back to all the basics with this right now. Okay, the fact that I moved in to a new place, I want to go back to the basics, right? I want to build my foundation all over again, right? So when, if somebody asks me, well, Nano, what are your areas of improvement right now? Well, I'm going back to the basics, okay? I want to go back to the foundation of everything. So, what books am I going to read, right? In order for me to do that, right? There's a couple books that I have in mind right now. But for sure, one of the books I'm going to read is, I'm going to finish reading The Power of One More. Okay. That's by Ed Milet. I'm going to definitely read The Power of One More. But I'm also going to go back and read a lot of the foundational leadership. The network marketing books. I want to really get down to the foundation of network marketing. So I want to read the first year of network marketing. Okay. I want to read the first year of network marketing, your first year in network marketing.
That's fine, Kevin, if you want to do that, but how is that gonna help? Like, you can read all about network marketing. That doesn't change the fact that the only ways for you to be successful if you join early, or if you have a huge following that you can recruit again into your team and you can rank up, get to the top. Also, yeah, I got a little bit chilly, so I had to put my top on. This has nothing to do, like, this guy is wasting everyone's time.
All right. I want to read this book that I got on finances to help me with my finances. Right. And then the same thing is when it comes to the audios, the people I'm going to listen to, I'm going to go back to, Your Wish Is Your Command. I'm going to go back and listen to it again and again and again and again. Right. I'm going to go back to the foundation of it. Read it again. Go through, luckily for me, I have access to level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have access to all of these. So I'm going to get back to these. I'm going to get back to the foundation. Okay. So when it comes to your growth plan, guys, you got to be very careful and very strategic with what it is, right? Because you want to focus on those specific areas incredibly, with an incredible amount of attention that it can help you guys, because that's the key right there. When you learn this right here, everything will change for you. All right. So as a matter of fact, if you guys could let me know in the chat, what are some areas that you guys are going to work on this year or that you're going to focus on this year? Okay. If you guys could let me know in the chat, I would appreciate it. What are some areas that you guys want to focus on this year? If you could pick one area, right, that you guys want to focus on this year, type it for me in the chat box, right? Type it for me in the chat box. Let me see. I want to know what are the areas that you guys are going to focus on for long periods of time. Okay, not focus on it for today and then tomorrow you're on to the next one. Not focus for a week and then on to it for the next one. When I do these things, I focus on it for 90 days, to be honest. I do it for 90 days. All right. Like 90 days is, the way that I focus on things, right? After 90 days, I know if I've improved in that area or not, right? So let me see right here. I see people saying controlling my emotions, discipline, relationships, personal development, disciplines, patience, time management. That's good. My health. Yep. That's another thing I'm going to focus on for sure. My health, consistency, self-discipline, emotional integrity, organization, situational awareness, finances is a great one. Intentionality, financial management, structure, scheduling mainly, healthy self, discipline and procrastination, discipline and procrastinating. Yo, for you guys that put that, leadership and communication and budgeting my money and developing passive income, discipline and mastering my craft, discipline and my health, right? So for a lot of us, we already kind of have ideas of some of the things that we got to work on. Okay. And for those that need help with discipline, right? One of my, this is when I was focused on my discipline, this is what I did. I'm going to give you guys a little trick that I did, right? When it came to discipline, this is what I did, right? My discipline plan, right? So discipline is, just so that we all understand, right? Just by definition, is the ability to give yourself a command and following through with it. That is what discipline is, right? So when I started and I wanted to become more disciplined, okay, I did something called my top 3. All right. And this was my top 3 actions that I had to take every day. Okay. So for example, right, since I lack discipline, I couldn't focus on doing all of these incredible things. I couldn't focus on having a schedule, of all these things like I used to see my mentors did, because I wasn't that good. My discipline wasn't that good. So I said, I need to focus on 3 things at a time. And I need to prove to myself that I can do it at least 6 to 7 days out of the week before I can add anything to it. So I remember back then, what I would do was my top 3 actions were meditation for 10 minutes, reading 10 pages, okay, and writing my goals down morning and night, right? So for example, just so you guys kind of have an idea of what I did when it came to discipline, because I saw a lot of discipline, right? I focused on 3 things I wanted to focus on, right? And I said, okay, every day, doesn't matter what I do throughout the day. I could spend 9 hours a day on Instagram. But as long as I did my meditation for 10 minutes, I read 10 pages and I wrote down my goals morning and night, I did what I was supposed to do, right? So that was my mindset behind it. I was like, yo, Nano, you could do whatever you want the whole entire day, but as long as you stay disciplined to do the 3 things that you said you were going to do and you did it, That's the key, because that's what discipline is the
Okay, like that's whatever, but like how does that help your MLM business? I'm just confused as to what does this have to do with your MLM biz and how did this help you grow? I guess he was saying he was reading books or whatever on leadership for a full year. If the business model is set up for you to fail, if you have 99% of chances of never making profit in a business model you're joining, none of this matters. Why are we still here, I wonder?
ability to give yourself a command and following through with it. So I said, yo, Nano, every day you got to do it. So what I did was this, guys. So I would grab my calendar, for example. Okay. And let me just show you guys the example of how I did it. Let's say I was to start this in the month of March. Okay. This is what the month of March is right here, right? So for example, right, let's do this as an example. Okay. What I would do is every day I bought a calendar, like one of those paper calendars, and I pasted it on my wall. All right. And what I did was on the calendar, let's say I would draw on it right here, right? Let's say I would put it right here. I would be like top 3. Let me just show you guys so you guys can kind of have an example of it. Right. I would take it right here. Let me see. Right. I would do right here. Top 3. Right. And what I would do is I would obviously add, meditation, read, goals as an example. This is what I would do. I would put it like somewhere in a corner. That was my top 3. Right. And remember, and then I would make rules. So like, how certain calendars have like certain notes that you can put in a corner and something. So the goal was this. Okay. The goal was I had to prove that I can do it for a whole week before I can add another action to it. So if I start March 1st, right, let's say I wake up March 1st and I'm starting this. I did my meditation, I did my read, and I wrote my goals down. I would put an X on the day like this, just like this with a marker. Right. If I didn't do all of it, if I did like half of it, it was only a half a check, a half a X like this. But if I did it, I would put it. So what I would do is I had to prove I can do it for 7 days. Right. Boom. Right. 3 days, and weekends included, every day. I'm not in the position to take weekends off. So every day counted. Right. 5 days. 6 days, 7 days, right? If I prove that I could do it for 7 days, then now I would be like, okay, now let's add another action to it. Now I'm going to meditate. I'm going to read. I'm going to write my goals down, and I'm going to listen to an audio for 30 minutes. Now, instead of my top 3 is my top 4. Now I got to prove that I can do the 4 for a whole week. And then the same thing starts again, back to it. Wake up and do it again. All right. And then what would happen is at the end of the month, right, when I came all the way to over here, the 31st, I would look back and count how many times out of the month did I say I was going to do things and I did it. And when I first started, I remember, I think my first month I did like 27 out of 30, 26 or 27 out of 30. And then the next month I did like 28 out of 30 and all of that stuff. So it was very key and very possible for me to do it. Okay. And I started to do it that way, and my whole life changed.
I am confused again. This is called What is Your Growth Plan? But here he is speaking for so long about what he did and how it worked for him. And to me, it sounds like he's very privileged and has possibilities and is in a situation that the majority of people that are probably on this training, like, can you even call this a training? Like, what is he teaching us here? He's just telling us how he did something and how he stayed disciplined. Like, it has nothing to do with his MLM biz. It has nothing to do with the people's growth plan. It has nothing to do with how to actually create a growth plan, even though, like I keep saying throughout this video, it doesn't even matter because the business model is set up so that the majority of people are gonna fail regardless if they have a growth plan or no. Again, why are we still here? Just to suffer?
This was one of the things that helped me change my life when it came to discipline. I did this for over a year. Like, And guess what? It got to the point where I've even showed you guys this, right? I've even showed you guys my routine in my notes. You guys have seen this. I was showing you guys this the other day when it comes to the plan that I had for my routine, right? Because if we look at it, right, I created that. This is then when I created that checklist that I showed you guys the other day, right? And I showed you guys this checklist. Look right here. This is what I started to do. So look, when it started, right, I know it started like this, right? It started probably with these three: personal development, 30 minutes, read 30 minutes, study an hour, study trading for an hour, then studying real estate, then marketing for 30 minutes, then following at least 100 people, then contacting my leaders, then writing my goals down, then visualizations, then pray. And I started to add these things. And then at the end, I got to the point where I was doing these things every single day. But it started with 3 and it ended up being, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, and if you follow 100 people every single day on just one social media account, you're gonna get blocked very quickly. I don't think you can even follow 100 in one day. So maybe he means across different platforms, but it's still a little bit too much. And if you keep doing that every single day, the app is gonna see you as a spam or as a bot. So they're gonna block you. Also, the fact that he had the time to do all of this, again, is something that the majority of people, I bet, in his downline don't have the time to, because people have jobs, full-time jobs, people have kids. This is so much work. Even just finding 100 people to follow on social media every single day, that takes so much time. And like I said, you're just gonna get blocked at the end of the day anyway, so it's useless.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different actions. Now, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, because a lot of this stuff, majority of them were already done by the morning, right? So like, for example, personal development was done in the morning. Reading for 30 minutes was done in the morning. Writing my goals down, visualization, what I'm grateful for, working out, meditation. Like, this was all done in the morning right here. So more than half of this stuff was done in the morning already and during my morning routine.
Okay, like for you, but majority of people have work to be at in the morning that actually pays them, or they have kids that they need to get to daycare. That's like, what? How is this useful to anyone?
But then I started to focus on other areas of my life, right? And that's what I want you guys to understand, right? So we said, when we go back to the main page, we look back at it, okay, and we see these areas. Stole that from you and tweaked it. There you go, Lady Boss Nikki. That's what you got to do, right? So if you look at it now, I then started to do the same thing with every other area in my life, right? I started to focus on, okay, what is my business plan, right? What is my business plan? Okay, so for example, right, for my people in IM, right? Let's say my goal was to hit Platinum 1000, right? Platinum 1000, for those who don't have no idea, that means you make $1,000 a month, okay? And you make $250 a week, okay? Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but $1,000 a month and $250 a week. And I know that
And how many people actually get to that point where they actually earn that kind of money and where they're profiting with that kind of money? I wonder. I'm just curious.
I needed to have 30 people in my business, right? I knew I needed 30 people in my business. I know that the plan in order for me to do this is I need to enroll 12 to 15 people. And I need to help 3 to 5 people, okay, hit P150. This is the foundational game plan for making $1,000 a month in my business. So I said, okay, if I need to enroll 12 to 15 people, okay, and I need to help out of those 12 to 15, I need to help 3 to 5 of them hit the first rank in the business. Okay, so then what am I going to do? Well, if I need to enroll 12 to 15 people, what does that mean? Well, I need to go create a list. I need to be running opportunity calls.
Mind you, this is 47 minutes into this training, if you can call it a training. And only now he's giving examples about the business plan. So
calls every single day. Okay. I need to make sure that I do whatever it takes in order for me to do this. So I was so obsessed with the idea of this that I was like, yo, I'm going to do opportunity calls every single day. I'm going to share the plan every single day. And I was sharing the plan 3 times a day. I was like, okay, I'm going to share the plan at 3, 6, and 9 p.m. Right? I'm going to share the plan at 3, 6, and 9 p.m. every single day, which meant that every single day I was going to do a call where I was going to show people what I was doing 3 times throughout the day.
Which means if you have a tiny social media account, you are spamming people with the same information about your business. The same people that follow you and might see your posts and stories, you're spamming them with the same info 3 times a day. I just can't. I don't even know what to say at this point.
I didn't know if people were going to show up, but I was doing them 3 times a day. I was like, yo, I don't know who's going to show up, but I'm going to do them 3 times a day. You understand what I'm saying? And I would do them. And there were days that people didn't show up. There were calls that people didn't show up. But guess what? I did it. And I did it because I knew that in order for me to get to $1,000 a month, I needed to enroll 12 to 15 people. So I knew that in order for me to enroll people, I needed to be sharing the plan. Sharing the plan. Okay, right? When it came to, let's say, for example, social media, right? I needed a plan. What was my social media plan? Right? I said, yo, I needed to grow my Instagram. So what would I do? I would follow every day 50 to 100 people. Okay. As a matter of fact, what I would do was my real social media plan was flow. I will flow for an hour every day. I still have the alarms on my phone. I would do it every day between 5 and 6 p.m., which was the time that people got out of work. I would do it every day, right? What was flow? Follow 50 to 100 people a day, right? Show love, right? Show love, 3 likes, 1 comment, open conversations in the stories, and then win them into my life, right?
Oh my God, that's so bad. Like the last one is so cultish again.
Relationship building.
First of all, you doing this just to recruit people into your business and to gain money is shitty as fuck, in my opinion. Also, second, he is giving you a great advice to get blocked on social media and to lose out on any kind of reach or any kind of growth that you can get from the algorithm, because following that many people every single day is gonna get you blocked so fast, liking so many things, leaving so many comments, DMing people. That is spammy behavior that is not tolerated anymore on social media. Also, if you follow a 50 or 100, you're just growing your account. Like, yeah, some of them might follow you back because you showed them love and you're manipulating them to follow you back, but you still are growing the amount of people that you're following, which there's a limit to that as well. You can't keep doing that. So you're gonna have to unfollow a bunch of them. It's just, oh my God, like it's the worst social media advice that you can give to people. I'm not surprised that he's saying that because clearly he has no idea how to grow a social media account without being spammy, but it's not gonna get anyone anywhere. It's just gonna get you all blocked.
I would do this every day. Every single day, like clockwork, I would do it nonstop.
Also, the fact that he's spending just an hour out of his day to do all of that. Again, who has the time to do that? If they have full-time jobs, if they have kids, if they have other responsibilities, who has the time to do that? And this is just one of the things that he said he was doing daily. So again, he's privileged. He has loads of time. Does he even work? Who knows? The majority of people can't do that, can't follow his advice because they're not as privileged as he is.
I would do this every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Okay, it's important. So important. You know, even finances, guys, you could do this with your finances, right? What is your finances plan? It all depends. It all depends what you're trying to do. There's so many different financial plans that you can do, but it depends how much money you're earning a month. Let's say you're earning, $3,000 a month, right? $3,000 a month, right? You want to know, 20%, you could put 20% into investments, invest 20%. You can do, you can out of this, if you can, that's the thing. It all depends because, it's kind of hard. Somebody would have to sit down, save 20%. Some people like to give 10%. It all depends what you're trying to do. Okay. And where you're trying to go to, or, you can use another 10% to, pay off debt and stuff like that. So it all kind of depends where you're at and how much you have left and stuff like that. A financial plan is something that you would have to sit down and we would have to kind of break it down. Okay, how much you make? How much are your expenses? What do we...
From what I know, he's not a financial advisor or any kind of expert to give that kind of advice to people. Are we surprised? Not really.
Have left, all right, from what we have left, how much do you want to put here? How much do you want to put there? So it's kind of that, but it's something that you would have to sit down with somebody that can help you. But if you need help with that, let me know, because I know people that can guide you guys through this process. All right, that can guide you guys through the process of getting yourself a financial plan, getting yourself...
At least it's not him. He says, I need to sit down with you. So if don't do that, don't give financial advice to people if you don't know what you're talking about.
LLCs, getting yourself, a business plan. Okay. So if you guys need business plans, DM me business plan. And I can connect you with the guy that gave me a business plan, and he can help you guys with setting up a fire as business plan on what you need, how to organize yourself, LLCs, the whole nine, and everything that comes to that. Okay. So, but yeah, guys, like I said, sit down today because for some reason, I don't know what's going on with my Zoom, but my Zoom is actually about to expire and it says time left 1 minute. So I think I don't know if I didn't pay for it or something, but I want to make sure that, I don't just let this cut off, but I want to make sure that you guys really understand the importance of this right here. Okay. If you guys really want good plan on everything, sit down and actually think about what you really, really want. Okay. How you really want to elevate yourself and how you really want to put yourself in a position of growth. Okay, in every area of your life, right? Do you want to, think about this. What area do you want to grow? Do you want to grow in your personal development? Do you want to grow in your business? Do you want to grow in your spirituality? Do you want to grow in your health? Do you want to grow in your finances? Whatever it is, create a growth plan for it and find the resources that are going to help you grow in those areas. All right, fam, this is so important. So, guys,
oh my God, I'm so happy that Zoom cut him off because he didn't pay, because he would have gone on for forever. And I think, let me know if you have ever seen a more useless waste of time training than this one, because I think this is one of the worst ones that I have seen yet. Thank God he was cut off by Zoom. But don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you like the video, if you want to see more content from myself. And as always, big shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.